released in 2018 and was directed by Panos Cosmatos. In the movie, a cult decides to kidnap this wife of a lumberjack who's played by Nicolas Cage, and Nicolas Cage then decides to take revenge on all of these cultists. The story for this movie sounds simple, and that's because it is. The story has certainly been used many times, but that's not the driving force of why you should see this movie. The style of this movie is like nothing I had ever seen before. The film starts off with some great nature cinematography, and there's a certain point where a character takes LSD, and from that point on, the rest of the movie is sort of like the viewer has taken LSD, and they're just watching this craziness play out in front of them. The colors and the way things move around with the sound around them is just so enticing. The movie is paced a bit oddly. You'll feel like this scene has ended, but the camera just kind of lingers on. And I can see why someone would hate this, but it actually threw me into the movie that much more. It made it feel like more of a real place instead of just like watching something play out. The first half of the movie is pretty slow. The second half is where the fun begins though. Nicolas Cage goes all out crazy on these psycho cultists, and we get to see a pretty awesome chainsaw fight between two of them. The whole movie is really a love letter to 80s horror gore movies, and the music is no exception to that. The score was one of the best parts of this movie. It was scored by Johan Johansson, and he actually died earlier this year, so this is going to be his last score, unfortunately. It's sort of like Stranger Things soundtrack, but more mellow and more haunting for sure. But guys, the best part of this movie is the way the visuals and the score just go hand in hand. They complement each other in such a symbiotic way. This movie is violent and it is gory, but it is beautiful. I can see why someone would like this movie just for the fact of parts of it being extremely slow, but it would be hard-pressed to find someone who couldn't at least appreciate the sheer beauty that it is. I do sort of wish we got a little bit more backstory or insight onto Nicolas Cage's character and his wife's character, and even some of the villains. The story doesn't necessarily need it, but it's just something I would have liked to see, instead of some of the other things that were included. I'm going to give Mandy an 8 out of 10. I first saw this trailer about a month ago, and I have been psyched to see it since. Unfortunately, it has an extremely limited release, and it was only had one showing within 50 miles of me until it comes on Blu-ray. But yeah, when it does come out on Blu-ray or streaming or whatever, I totally recommend you guys to check it out. I am going to post the trailer below just so you can kind of get a feel for like what this movie is. I will say the movie's a little bit more slow than the trailer, but it's a good indication of what you're going to get with it. It is a very different kind of movie. Well guys, thanks for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you for my next review.